Good morning, friends. Last night we saw Trump's tantrum uh, speech, and I wanted to share my impressions on it. Aside from all the grievances, like I knew when Trump was saying he was going to lower prices, I knew he was not going to be able to perform. Why? Because in order to do that, you need to first understand what is causing prices to go up. I want to start by talking like when Obama came to power, we were in the middle of a recession. And Obama was able to turn things around, but not in a way that some people perhaps expected. We kept seeing a constant economic growth, very stable for a very long time, but it wasn't in the rate that people wanted it to, which is not so bad. Usually when you have the big highs, you're also gonna have the big lows. It's best to keep the economy in levels that are manageable to avoid bubbles or other things. Anyway, when Trump came to power, he put these tax cuts. And if you compare the GDP during the Obama time to the GDP during Trump's time, you're gonna realize that all those tax breaks didn't really do much. There's something that we do in accounting in order to test, like we always measure the cost versus the benefit. And in this case, the cost outweighed the benefit. And yeah, we received some small tax breaks while the billionaires and millionaires actually didn't have any tax liability. Then this caused the deficit to go up, then the debt to go up. And if you think you're winning by this, you're only passing the debt to your children and your children's children. So think about that twice. Now let's talk about what happened when Biden came to power and prices were going up. There were, like I said, to understand prices and be able to work on them, we need to understand the cost, the root of the cost. The first thing that happened is that the entire supply chain stopped when China got hit by COVID. It doesn't matter that COVID moved in away from like Asia to Europe, then America. When it hit China, the entire world stopped because it's not just us. Europe and many other countries have the same dependencies on China. Not good. Then once things started moving, there was another problem. Before COVID started, there was this, I don't know if you remember, the steel war with China. So that drove steel levels in the markets to decline. When things reopened, we had countries, like normally countries are importers and exporters, meaning they get containers with goods and then they refill those containers and send them back. But some countries are actually not exporters. After everything stopped with COVID, those containers were left in those countries, empty, with no way of being brought back. In addition to that, the shortage in steel caused a shortage in containers. So we need containers to move the stuff from China to America. Then the third thing came. Most of the items that we receive from China that comes to the East Coast have to go through the Panama Canal. A couple of years ago, something never ever seen, and I know some of you don't believe in global warming, but your insurer does believe, and certainly is happening. A couple of years ago, one of the rainiest countries in the world was experiencing a brutal drought, which caused a bottleneck of ships containing goods that were coming from China. After COVID, when we have to spend almost 2 years without doing very little, people were avid to leave. And usually when the economy, there's certainly people stop buying and consuming. But after COVID, that was not the case. So with more consumption, less supply, prices go up. Some people were upset at Biden because they were comparing America after COVID with America before COVID. And I'm sorry, because like I think that would be comparing apples and oranges. You do not compare your house before got hit by a hurricane with your house after getting hit by a hurricane. You don't do that because it's not realistic. So what did I do to assess how our president was doing? I looked at our peers, the European Union, the UK, Canada, Australia. How are they doing? So they were seeing similar problems. As a matter of fact, many of these countries made it to the double-digit inflation when we managed to stay under. So I realized that the problem was not just Biden and the US. Now, we can look at what's happening right now. When Trump came to power, inflation was at 3%. Then it went down to 2.6. And let me clarify, whenever there's inflation, even if it's higher or lower, it means prices are going up. When inflation goes down, it only means that it's going up by a smaller amount, not that prices are actually going down. But what I'm trying to say is, like, right now, we had the 3% inflation when Trump came to power, then it went down to 2.2, and now it's up at 3 and trending up. Why? Because these prices are driven by Trump's tariffs. If you don't trust me, you can look at how our peers are doing, how their inflation rates are going down when ours are going up. Don't let them fool you. There's things that don't necessarily depend on the president, but this inflation is 100% Trump made. We're going to keep talking. I'm going to keep sharing some of my views, and I love you guys.